How often do you make a difference in life? What is the impact of your daily actions on society? In other words, what's your contribution? These are very difficult questions for all of us. Yet, these are the kind of questions that we should dare to ask more often. Why? Because they are key. They are key for our future. Jamila, the fantastic lady you just saw on the screen, she's a professional who had a dream. She wanted to become a teacher. Today, she spent most of her time behind a screen, the screen of a computer, a fancy one, advising faceless corporations. This is Gert. Gert is a pensioner. He just retired from the government after working very successfully for 30 years. He's very good at managing projects. He's very good at managing people. But today, he has a lot of free time and really doesn't know how to fill up his own days. And then you have Ben. Ben is a student in his early 20s. He had a dream. He wanted to become a designer, perhaps an artist. But then his parents persuaded him to become a lawyer. He studied law. What do Jamila, Gert, and our friend Ben have in common? Well, they're all very accomplished individuals who have much more to give to society than what their professions and situations allow them to. I wonder how many of you feel in those situations. And in my sense, many, probably more and more, feel the same. This is certainly my case. This is certainly my situation. My situation is that of an academic who is surrounded by students, who is a bit in an ivory tower. My students look at me in the classroom. Most of them fall asleep. That's why I play with the tone of my voice. But still, the bottom line is that the majority of them won't remember what I tell them in the classroom. And when it comes to my work, which is writing books and articles, the truth, the gloomy truth, is that, in average, they are read by around, are you ready for it? 10 people. I said 10. And what is even more depressing is that most of the people who are citing my work, 300, 400, 500 people, luckily, do not actually read my work and my books. So this is extremely frustrating for all of us. But when it comes to you and your daily job, I really wonder whether you do much better than I do, together with Jamila, Gert, and Ben. Do you do better than this? Or you also feel constrained in your ability to somehow channel your talent and your expertise into society? How much of the work you do actually entails some giving? Well, perhaps you're a doctor, you're a nurse. Perhaps it's going to be easier for you. But for most of us, it's not easy to channel that desire to make change. Isn't that a paradox? The more society professionalizes, the less it's capable to take full advantage of its own expertise. Each of us, every single day, accumulates knowledge, expertise, increase his own performance, but yet is not capable to fully harness and to fully channel those capabilities towards meaningful action. Our educational systems, and I'm guilty, our professions do render our job descriptions a cage within which we have to move. We are stuck. We are stuck in our life. Well, once in a while, we show solidarity when we feel attacked. We try to do things. We like a page on Facebook. We sign up a petition for a good cause. We give something to charity. We help a little bit our community. But come on, these are very easy forms of engagement. This is something we do to feel better with ourselves. This is something we do because we like to appear engaged among our peers. But these are ready-made campaigns that we buy up as we go to Starbucks for a coffee. Come on, let's face it. All these forms of engagement are not very meaningful when it comes to tapping into our own potentialities to make change. These are one-click forms of participation that should be the beginning, not the end of our engagement. But as you all know, they tend to be the beginning and the end. There's so much more we can give to others. So much more. And the big question today is, why don't we do more? Why don't we currently manage to collectivize and share our own expertise? And the true answer is because we don't know how to do it. Nobody has been commodifying the experience of civic engagement. Nobody. And we believe to be busy with our daily life and therefore incapable to possibly tap into this potential. Let's face it, today we are spectators, not actors. We are consumers, not citizens. And this is sad. But why should we care? Because some of you might say, why should we care? Well, if you don't do it for society, do it for you, for self-interest. Our happiness depends on it, depends on our ability to get the most out of ourselves. Do you know what really makes us happy? Of course you do. Money, education. But if you look at happiness studies, what really makes a difference is our ability to possibly go beyond those values and to give, striving to make a difference for the others, as originally theorized by Nobel Prize winner Amartya Sen, who said that participation does have an intrinsic value to the quality of your life. This suggests that if we fail to take full advantage of what we're good at, this is going to be not only bad for society, but it's also going to be a recipe for individual unsatisfaction. This is going to lead us to a system failure. How do we fix that? How can we possibly get the most out of our talents? How can we mobilize those talents? This is the question that we should ask all together. And as you might know, according to a very well-rehearsed script, there are two major options to make progress in society. The first one is to vote, going to the polls every few years. And the second one is to run for office. You need to be co-opted by a party, you need to play the game, and possibly become a public figure. Well, good luck with that. But as you can see, if voting is too little, running for office can be too much and can be overwhelming. So the question for you is, how can we find another alternative way to do meaningful things in life? By using and tapping and harnessing our own skills and expertise. And I have good news, there is a way. It is called lobbying. Lobbying is the art of persuasion, the art of exercising influence over others. It is about shaping the way in which decision makers change the rules of the game, the policies that affect our life, taxation, social policy, consumer matters. But I know what you're thinking. That's what corporations do. Corporations do this all the time. But the problem is exactly that. The citizens don't do lobby. But today things are changing. Why? Because lobbying is no longer a monopoly of big corporations and vested interest. Today, lobbying is something that everybody can do because of the increased amount of expertise and talents we all have. Do you know how do I call it? I call it citizen lobbying. This is lobbying by the citizens for the citizens. Let me introduce you to this Austrian student. He's a law student. He's called Max Schrems. As you might know, he decided to turn his textbook, what you learn at university, into a complaint against Facebook. He challenged Facebook because of the way in which Facebook has been treating our data over the last few years. And he actually won, and together with him, 500 million citizens in Europe. This is a civil servant coming from Mexico, who is the city manager, who decided to encourage his own citizens to possibly start filming acts of civic misbehavior by political leaders and business leaders. The idea is to challenge the social acceptance of illegal behavior in Mexico. Together with my students, we have the chance to push and create some lobbying in order to get rid of international roaming charges, the extra fees you pay when you make a call outside of your country or you receive a call. I'm ready to make a call for you. Pick your cause. Pick your battle. Be ready to have a good reason to fight for, and then open up the many possibilities you have. Start writing to your elected. Start monitoring your elected representatives and looking what they're actually doing and whether they are representing your own interest. Let's open up the lobbying toolbox. There are so many opportunities for you to tap into your own possible talents and turn them into meaningful action by using those tools. You can provide advice to nonprofit organizations who might need you because you're good at a particular thing, or you might even persuade your own employer, or perhaps allow your employees, if you're an entrepreneur, to devote some of their working time to a good cause. 2 hours a week, you can possibly allow them to be permitted to set up a web page, provide a memorandum, to do some accountancy work for an NGO organization present in your city. But I still have one question to address. Why should we lobby all together as citizens? And I think we should lobby all together because of 3 reasons. The first reason is that lobbying works. If it works for corporations, there shouldn't be any reason why it shouldn't work for all of us as citizens. Second, lobbying is win-win. Lobbying is allowing you to possibly collectivize your expertise and at the same time making society progress. And finally, lobbying is good for democracy. As politics is professionalizing even further, we need to help civil society to professionalize as well. We need to make sure that our political system will possibly develop in a way that can call and find some space between us. We have been witnessing a gap amid political distrust between the elected and the voters. And citizens lobbying, meaning you, can fill up such a gap and possibly promote the public interest. This is the only way that we can possibly outsmart the system, by becoming smarter than what we are trying to control. At the beginning of this talk, I took the liberty to ask you, how often do you make a difference in life? Probably not often. But I wish that in the future, we're going to be able all together to answer more often. I do believe that if we all engage along the lines I took the liberty to suggest, we're going to be able to possibly turn you from spectators into actors, from consumers into citizens. And if it is true what Woody Allen said a few years ago, which is 80% of success in life is about showing up, it's about your time to show up and possibly lobby for good.